Ladies and gentlemen, if you are laying a wreath during the service today and have not already picked it up, you are directed to the lower west hallway.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Kate W., the city's Indigenous advisor, to start our Remembrance Day service, Indigenous ceremony, the good way.
Love it.
Mani Kilauea, Jojo Wichimanido, Mino Hizel, Wawara Mino de Kwe, De Dog, Mine Dodam, Bawatin and Dojuba, Caitlin and Indigenous. It is an honor to be here today. I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered here in Bawatin, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. We sing English, for they have cared for this land since time immemorial and continue to do so. We come together in this Remembrance Day to honor all of their sacrifices. We remember those who have gone home, as well as who did not go home, as well as those who did. Carry our pride and pain, often in silence. We hold in our hearts those men and women who have lived their lives in freedom. May we move forward in our individual journeys with our teachings of love, respect, humility, truth, wisdom, honesty, and bravery. Let us honor them in words, in action, in peace, and spirit. Be blessed.
Thank you, Kate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 107th National Remembrance Day Ceremony. I invite you now, as you are able, As settlers, we are grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Long before today, as we gather here, there have been Aboriginal peoples who have been stewards of this place, and in particular, we acknowledge that we are meeting on Robinson-Kiernan Treaty Land, and the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. Color Party Commander, march on the colors.
Okay, ladies, practice my color party. Fire center. Quick. Part.
Yeah, Christian, you might want to come out here and show me how to swim.
Shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. We will welcome now to the podium Comrade Pierre Breckenridge, President of Branch 25 of the Royal Canadian Legion.
Veterans, serving members, Mr. Mayor, honored guests, comrades, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of our 1,028 members, I would like to convey our sincere appreciation to all serving members, veterans, and their families for their dedication and sacrifice by participating in these services. Honored guests, you reaffirm our pledge to never forget and to honor their service. This year, we're emphasizing the Canadian Armed Forces' continued contributions to NATO, the UN, as well as the importance of women's service. Personnel from the Canadian Armed Forces continue to contribute significantly and occupy key positions within NATO and the UN. Numerous Canadians have served, are currently serving in these organizations. We recognize your sacrifice and dedication to peace on this Remembrance Day service. Canada was a founding member of the United Nations in 1945 with the primary objective of maintaining international peace and security in the aftermath of World War II. Today, the organization's 80th year, the UN missions have expanded to encompass sustainable developments, human rights, climate action, and humanitarian assistance. Overall, Canada's contributions, $2.2 billion to these initiatives. In addition to peacekeeping efforts, which have varied over time in response to changing requirements. We continue to provide training and resources needed for peacekeeping missions while also contributing to the Council's security as required. We are also paying tribute to the Canadians who served in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and the many Canadians who continue to serve. As a founding member of NATO, Canada has played a crucial role in maintaining peace and stability in Europe, particularly during the Cold War when Canadian troops were stationed at military bases in France and West Germany. Currently, Canada is leading a multinational battle group in Latvia and contributes forces and equipment to various other operations. It is essential to recognize the incredible contributions of our service women that have made over an extended period of time in numerous conflicts. The branch was honored to secure and present the missing World War II medals to Iris Chalmers, a 99-year-old local veteran. Over 50,000 women served in various units and roles during World War II. In essence, women's active participation in the military was a vital, if often overlooked, aspect of the Allied victory, demonstrating immense capacity and resourcefulness during a time of national crisis. Their dedication and honorable service laid the groundwork for the current policy in the CAF. Women can and do serve in any occupation within the Canadian Armed Forces, including all operational trades and environments. On this Remembrance Day, your comrades at Branch 25 salute you and your contributions, sacrifice, and courage. I'd like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt appreciation to the community for their steadfast support of our veterans and serving members. In particular, I wish to thank the steelworkers from Local 2251 and 2724 for their invaluable support with the William Merrifield VCMM Citation Cast Replacement Project, our field gun wheel repair, and preservation of local military history. Additionally, I commend the outstanding contributions of the Poppy and Remembrance Committees, recognize their dedication of our Poppy Taggers, volunteers, the Poppy Room members, and the community at large for their unwavering support. Branch 25 has been a resident in its new home for almost 1.5 years and is currently writing a new chapter in the Legion's history within its 3rd Legion building, coming up to our 100th-year anniversary. Utilizing the service office, we have succeeded in providing supplementary services while sustaining our traditional support to veterans. We are deeply thankful for the community support and wish to acknowledge the support and collaboration of local businesses and organizations in supporting those services. On behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion and myself, I wish to express my deep gratitude to the Mayor and his staff for their continued support of our Remembrance Day services. The Royal Canadian Legion is privileged to organize the Remembrance Day service in conjunction with the parading units on behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie. I conclude by stressing the importance of taking time, not only today, but throughout the year, to learn about the men and women who have served or continue to serve. By engaging with them or their family members, as well as learning about their service, we pay tribute to their sacrifice and remember their contributions, lest we forget.
Thank you, Comrade Pierre. Let us begin our time of remembrance with prayer. Leading us is Comrade Padre Helen Smith.
I invite you to join with me in prayer. Holy One, we come this day in a spirit of remembrance. Help us never to forget those who in their time paid the price with their lives so that we in our time might live in freedom and security. Today as we gather, we remember all those who served in wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping missions. We remember all who have given their youth, some even their life, who have come home injured, physical or emotionally. But may we remember them not just as soldiers, Holy One, but as people, as someone's child, parent, sibling, spouse, friend. Help us to remember with compassion. Help us to remember with gratitude. And help us to remember with hope. Hope for today, hope for tomorrow. Hope for the children of the world. We pray that today's children will never need to be remembered in sorrow or loss, but only in joy and thanksgiving. As we remember, may it inspire us to continue to be faithful in all of our remembering. And finally, we pray that all people on earth will learn to live together as one family, to share so that none will be hungry or homeless, to care so that none will be oppressed or afflicted by violence, to love with respect, despite our differences. So freedom might become more than just a word, and so life might be more than just a struggle to survive. It is in that spirit of remembrance and in our faith and hope we offer our prayers. Amen.
Thank you, Comrade Helen. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are able, I would invite you to stand and join with me in the singing of the hymn, Faith of Our Fathers. The words are printed in your service brochure. It is my pleasure now to call upon Mayor of Sault Ste. Marie, His Worship, Mayor Matthew Shoemaker.
Good morning, everyone. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you, and I'd like to thank everyone who has taken or made time to join with us in today's ceremony. To the veterans here today, thank you for your service to our country. Today is about remembrance, honoring the courage, resilience, and sacrifice from those in our community, our region, and our nation who have served Canada in times of war and in peace. This year holds particular significance as we mark the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. In 1945, after 6 long and devastating years, the guns fell silent. Canada's contributions on the battlefields of Europe, in the Pacific, on the seas, in the skies, and on the home front played a critical role in the Allied victory. This anniversary invites us to reflect on both the triumph of peace and the immense cost at which it was won. During the war, communities across Canada, including right here in Sault Ste. Marie, rallied behind a national effort. Local regiments, families, and industries all played their part. Young men and women enlisted. Factories adapted to wartime production, and people supported one another through times of uncertainty and loss. The entire nation mobilized to defend freedom, and our community was no exception. Canadian forces distinguished themselves in major campaigns throughout the war, from the Battle of the Atlantic, where Canadian sailors and airmen played a decisive role in keeping supply lines open, to the Italian campaign and the liberation of the Netherlands, where Canadian soldiers were greeted as heroes. Our country made contributions far beyond its population size. These achievements came at a great cost, but they also forged a reputation for steadfastness and courage and compassion that Canada carries to this day. More than 1 million Canadians served in the Second World War. Over 45,000 did not return home. Tens of thousands more carried lifelong wounds, both visible and invisible. Their bravery helped liberate the world from tyranny, restore freedom, and reshape modern society. 80 years later, their legacy still guides us. We continue to remember the generations of Canadians who served in the decades that followed, from Korea to peacekeeping missions around the world to Afghanistan, and a special remembrance is sent out today to the Canadian service members in Latvia, training Ukrainians who are defending their freedom against a new form of tyranny. Each chapter of service reflects Canada's steadfast commitment to global peace and security. The 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War reminds us that remembrance is not only about looking back, it's about understanding our responsibilities today. Peace was secured through extraordinary sacrifice, and it falls to each of us, those of you here and those watching at home, to honor that sacrifice by nurturing it with just as compassionate and peaceful, with prayers for just as a compassionate and peaceful world. As I always try to impress at this event, to the young people here today, this legacy is now in your hands. The stories, the lessons, and the sacrifices of the past must be carried forward by new generations who understand the value of freedom and the fragility of it. By remembering the service of those who came before us, we honor the legacy of those who believed that their actions could shape a better future. The courage that they showed obliges us to continue striving for the peace that they fought so fiercely to secure. We not only honor those who served, but we reaffirm our commitment to their cause. For those who made the ultimate sacrifice, we remember their lives, their families, and their loved ones who had a forever changed reality. As a community, as a country, we remember, we mourn, and we pledge to keep those memories alive. To all veterans, past and present, on behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie and all residents of Sault Ste. Marie, we extend our deepest gratitude. Thank you for your dedication and your sacrifice.
Thank you, Your Worship.
It's my honor to introduce veteran Michael Garcia as our guest speaker. Michael Garcia is an accomplished senior executive with over 30 years of global experience in the steel, energy, and paper industries. As CEO of Algoma Steel Inc., Michael leads one of North America's premier steel producers through one of the most significant industrial transformations in Canada. Algoma's pivoting from traditional blast furnace productions to electric arc furnace EAF steelmaking. This transition positions Algoma as Canada's most modern, low-carbon primary steel producer, enabling a ceramic reduction to carbon emission and strengthening the company's competitiveness for decades to come. Over the past year, Michael has publicly led Algoma and the Canadian steel industry through a period of uncertainty in North America trade relations, serving as a visible and credible voice for the sector. His advocacy for fair trade, domestic manufacturing resilience, and government partnerships has shaped the public policy dialogue and reinforced Algoma's strategic importance to Canada's industrial base. Under his leadership, Algoma has advanced its EAF project ahead of industry peers. It's maintained operational stability through the complex market conditions and continued to deliver high-quality steel products across automotive, construction, and energy sectors. In recognition of his leadership, integrity, and commitment to the community, Michael was named CEO of the Year, Corporate Citizen by Globe and Mail Report on Business, one of Canada's most prestigious business honors. The award recognizes his efforts not only in transforming Algoma into a sustainable leader, but also in strengthening the community of Sault Ste. Marie and contributed to Canada's broader decarbonized goals. Michael also served on the board of Atlanta Energy S&P 500 Electric and Gas Utilities Holding Company, where he chairs the Operations Committee and is a member of the Nomination and Governance Committee. From 2017 to 2021, he served on the board of Federal Reserve Bank in Richmond, Charlotte branch, providing key business and economic insights supporting federal open market committees' policy deliberations. As a graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point, Michael served 5 years on active duty as an armor officer in the U.S. Army's 3rd Cavalry Regiment. His assignments included Scout Platoon Leader, Tank Platoon Leader, Troop Executive Officer, and Headquarters Troop Executive Officer. He served with the regiment during its deployment to Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm in 1990 to 91. Michael holds an MBA from Harvard Business School and a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from West Point. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest speaker, veteran Michael Garcia.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here with you today among veterans, active service members, families, and citizens, gathered in gratitude and reflection. Remembrance Day is a solemn moment in this country. It's when Canadians pause as one community, one nation, to remember the courage, sacrifice, and service of those who stood in harm's way for something larger than themselves. For me, this day carries special meaning. I'm blessed to now make my home in Canada, but I'm an American citizen, and November 11th is a sacred day in both countries. In the United States, it's Veterans Day. Here, it's Remembrance Day. 2 nations, 2 traditions, 1 idea. That freedom endures because brave men and women were willing to serve, to sacrifice, and to stand for something greater than themselves. I stand here today not as someone who served in the Canadian Armed Forces, I did not, but as someone who deeply respects those who did and who continues to wear the values of military service in my life and in my work. I served the United States Army. I grew up in a small copper mining town in Arizona, the kind of place where people worked hard, knew their neighbors, and didn't make a big show of themselves. Service to your country, to your community, to your teammates, that was just understood. As a young man, I was drawn to West Point and the Army because I believed in that idea of service. My own service in many ways was unremarkable. I don't stand here claiming any type of heroism, but I was very proud to serve alongside my brothers and sisters in arms during Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. When I think back on that time, I remember the people. Farmers, teachers, mechanics, nurses, kids right out of high school, people from big cities and tiny towns, all wearing the same uniform. All there because they believed their country needed them. And I'm certain it is exactly the same way in the Canadian Armed Forces. Canadians from Thunder Bay, Cape Breton, the Prairies, right here in Sault Ste. Marie, ordinary people who chose an extraordinary path. So today I want to be very clear. I honor Canadian veterans as a fellow veteran. I honor you as brothers in arms. Those who served in Canada or in the United States, across the Commonwealth, and alongside allies, know something that is easy to forget in peacetime, that peace is fragile. Some came home changed, some did not come home at all. Remembrance Day is here for them. It is for the fallen. It is also for the families, the spouses, the parents, and the children who bore the quiet burden of service, and it is for those who still carry wounds we cannot see. This year's theme, highlighting Canada's contribution through the United Nations and NATO, is an important one. After the great conflicts of the 20th century, Canada chose to be a builder of peace. Canadian soldiers have worn blue helmets in Cyprus, patrolled in Bosnia, supported operations in Afghanistan, trained partners in the Ukraine, and served in humanitarian and stabilization missions around the world. They did so with the kind of quiet professionalism that has made the Canadian Armed Forces respected internationally. A balanced strength rooted in compassion and discipline. As an American, I can say this plainly. The United States and Canada have stood shoulder to shoulder for generations. We have not always agreed on every approach, but we have always shared the same principles: liberty, democracy, human decency, and we have defended them together through NATO and the United Nations. We also honor today the contributions of women to the military, from Canada's nursing sisters to the women who served in intelligence, logistics, and aviation, to the women who wear command ranks today. Their service has often been under-recognized, but it has always been essential. In my own service, I saw women lead with courage and skill and empathy, qualities that often held units together. The Canadian Armed Forces have made important strides here as well, and those women, past and present, deserve to be remembered alongside their male counterparts. Here in Sault Ste. Marie, people understand service. This city has sent men and women to wear Canada's uniform, and it has supported those efforts at home through industry, through volunteerism, through families who kept things running while loved ones were away. The steel made here has helped build this country, its infrastructure, its ships, its rails, and in times of conflict, Canadian industry has always stepped up to support those in uniform. Service isn't only on the front line, service is also what you do at home to support the people on the front line. So in closing, today as we bow our heads, let us remember, peace is not automatic. It is made and protected by people. Freedom is not free. It is paid for, sometimes with youth, sometimes with health, sometimes with life itself. Remembrance is not passive. It is something we practice in how we live, how we lead, and how we treat veterans and their families. To Canada's veterans, and to those serving today, and to the families who stood beside them, thank you. May Canada continue to be worthy of your sacrifice. May the United States continue to be worthy of its veterans' sacrifice. And may the friendship between our two nations always be a force for peace, lest we forget.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae was a Canadian poet, physician, author, artist, and a soldier during the Boer War and the First World War. And during the First World War, he was stationed in Belgium as a surgeon during the carnage of the Second Battle of Ypres. In response to the death of a friend and to all the carnage that the war had brought about, McCrae wrote words which have captured the soul of sacrifice. I now invite to the podium Petty Officer Second Class Catherine Kostanowitz of the Royal Sovereign 46th Sea Cadet Corps, who will recite the epic poem by John McCrae, In Flanders Field.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row. That mark our place in the sky, the larks so bravely singing fly. Scarce an amid the guns below, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing, hands below, hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep through the poppies grow in Flanders fields.
The placing of wreaths is in the memory of our comrades who have fallen. This ceremony will be conducted by Comrade Pascal Crépeau-Breckenridge. Please note that there will be two pipers who will be playing in the background during the wreath-laying ceremony, and they are from the pipes and drums of the 49th Sault Ste. Marie Field Artillery Regiment, Royal Canadian Artillery.
Currently, we ask that you pick up your wreath if you have not already done so. The Legion Hapkido School, Cadets, and Scouts Canada, both groups, will be happy to assist you. Let us take time to remember. Today, we pay tribute to the sacrifice of Sergeant John Wayne Fott and Master Corporal Scott Vernelli, represented by our Silver Cross Mother, Donna Marie Crossan. Sergeant Fott served with distinction for close to 19 years with the 2nd Battalion Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry and volunteered for 7 tours including his final 3 in Afghanistan, where he tragically lost his life on January 16, 2010, while on patrol. We express our gratitude to Mrs. Crossan for her presence and for representing the courage and sacrifice of all Canadian mothers who have lost their children in military service. At this time, we would like to acknowledge the service of more than 10,000 citizens of the District of Algoma who served Canada in the conflicts since Confederation. Today, our Silver Cross Mother, Donna Crossan, is escorted by Sergeant McIntyre and Master Bombardier McLean. Representing the Government of Canada, Terry Sheehan, MP. Representing the Indigenous Peoples of Canada, Shirley Horn and Caitlin Neveu, City of Sault Ste. Marie Indigenous Advisor. Representing the Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 25, Comrade President Pierre Breckenridge and Sergeant at Arms Chuck Cabrera. Representing the Government of Ontario, Chris Scott. representing the Ontario Provincial Police Sault Ste. Marie Detachment. Representing the City of Sault Ste. Marie Police Service and service members, Chief Brent Duguay and Sergeant Major Ray Magnan. Representing the City of Sault Ste. Marie Fire Services, Fire Chief Peter Johnson and Deputy Chief Margaret Margenstar. Representing Afghan veterans, Mike McWaters. Representing the Corporation of Prince Township, presenting is Her Worship Mayor Melanie Matron and Deputy Mayor Jane Weir. Historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council. Historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council member Ken Figgers, Métis citizen Brianne Figgers, and Huron Superior Métis Community Regional Councilor Mitch Chase. The children of Shinwalk Alumni Association, Shinwalk Anishinaabe Students Association, and the Algoma University Students Union acknowledge and honor the selfless service of Indigenous veterans, their families, communities, and those who served with them, and they are accompanied today by Indigenous veteran Mike Cote. The next wreaths are being laid on behalf of the military, Legion, and public safety. Following that are the wreaths being laid in memory of or in honor of. '49th Field Regiment, Royal Canadian Artillery, presented by Lieutenant Colonel Brian Nadon and Chief Warrant Officer Preedom. Sault Ste. Marie Officers Mess, Sault Ste. Marie Warrant Officers and Sergeants Mess, Sault Ste. Marie Junior Ranks Club, Royal Canadian Legion Color Party, Royal Canadian Legion Drum and Trumpet Band, Sault Ste. Marie's 49th Pipes and Drum Band, Ladies Auxiliary Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25, President Carol Lacoste, Air Force Association of Canada, 432, Royal Canadian Air Force, Algoma Wing, Alan Fell, and Michael Lewis. Canada Border Services Agency, Officers Trotter and Matizzi. Algoma Veterans Association, presented by Veno Humalamaki and Tina Smith. OPP Veterans Association, Algoma Treatment and Remand Center, and U.S. Air Force Auxiliary Civil Air Patrol. We'll be laying wreaths in memory of or in honor of, followed by laying wreaths on behalf of the municipality. In memory of Maureen Jackson, Poppy Committee volunteer for 30 years, and Bernie Jackson, World War II veteran of the King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry, presented by the family. In memory of Lieutenant W.T.J. Newman, founder of the Sea Cadet movement in Sault Ste. Marie, and the 25 ex-Sea Cadets killed in action during World War II and Korea. The wreath of remembrance will be presented by the Simon and St. Jules families. In memory of Russ Radford, Royal Canadian Navy, World War II, presented by his family. In memory of Sergeant Thomas Arthur Snell, 21st Battalion, World War II, presented by his family. In memory of Sergeant John Wayne Fott, Warrant Officer Victor Crossan, Private Ren Moody, and Master Corporal Scott Vernelli, presented by the families. In memory of Private Léon Roy from the Donaldson family grandchildren. In memory of Private Léon Roy, presented by David Roy and Donaldson family. In memory of Léo Talfer, presented by the family. In memory of all serving members of the Lauzon family, presented by the Lauzon family. In memory of Frank Milesevich, Royal Canadian Navy, World War II, presented by Vicki Burns. In memory of Jack Harker Corey, World War II, remembered by his family. In memory of John Corey, veteran World War I and World War II, remembered by his family. In memory of 3 World War II veterans, 1 Cold War veteran, and 1 currently serving with the 1st Service Battalion, presented by Mrs. Jerry Pierce. In memory of parents Richard Shafik Applejohn, World War I, Royal Army Machine Gun Corps, and Lucy Cook Applejohn, Royal Air Corps, World War I, presented by Mike Applejohn. In memory of father and mother-in-law Lloyd Dupe, World War II, and Sadie Jones Dupe, Royal Air Force, World War II, presented by Mike Applejohn. In memory of Jim Lanthier, lifetime member of the Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 25, World War II veteran, presented by his family. in memory of Lori and Leroy McKenzie, presented by their families. In memory of World War II veteran Harold Quick. In memory of Jim Springsteel. In memory of Lieutenant Colonel Fred Beltham of Toronto Scottish Regiment, presented by Mike Collins. In memory of Stephen and Dora Zacharias, Albert and Phi Smith, presented by Darlene Zacharias. In memory of veterans Bill Armstrong, Bert Cloutier and Patrick Cloutier, all uncles to Lisa Vezo Allen. In memory of Willis Lindsay McLean, placed by Karen Francis. In memory of the Williams family, and in memory of Ernie Vanderberg, presented by Kim McConnell. Now laying wreaths on behalf of the municipality, followed by laying wreaths on behalf of the cadet and youth organizations, as well as wreaths on behalf of churches and groups. The Corporation of the City of Sault Ste. Marie. Parks Canada, Sault Ste. Marie Canal National Historic Site. Parks Canada, Fort St. Joseph National Historic Site. Algoma Family Services. Sioux Community Career Center. United Way, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma District. Ontario Lottery Corporation. Group Health Center, presented by Sarah Kriza and Amelia Stewart. Children's Aid Society of Algoma and Sioux Area Hospital. Laying wreaths on behalf of the cadets and youth organizations. 46 Royal Sovereign Sea Cadet Corps. Number 30 Newman Navy League Cadet Corps. 2310 Royal Canadian Army Cadets. 155 Borden Gray Air Cadet Squadron. And Scouts Canada. Now laying wreaths on behalf of the churches and groups, followed by laying wreaths on behalf of the various local companies. Willow Grove United Church. St. Luke's Cathedral. Westminster Presbyterian Church Ladies' Aid. Emmaus Anglican Church. Bethel Bible Chapel. Paroisse Sainte-Marie-du-Sault. And the Salvation Army. Now laying wreaths on behalf of the various local companies, and it will be followed by laying wreaths on behalf of groups and associations. Saldan Construction Group. Mike Cote, Realtor, Exit Realty True North, presenting on behalf of veterans. Construction Equipment Company. Metro Churchill Plaza. Northwood Funeral Home, Cremation and Reception Center. O'Sullivan Funeral Home. Gateway Casinos and Entertainment Limited. Arthur Funeral Home, Barton and Kitley Chapel, and First Student Bus Company. We'll be laying wreaths on behalf of groups and associations that will be followed by laying wreaths on behalf of locals and unions. Knights of Columbus, Superior Council number 932. Hatherley Lodge number 624. Club Calabrese of Sault Ste. Marie. Algonquin chapter number 102, Royal Archmasons. Elks Lodge number 341. Keystone Lodge, AF and AM number 412. Algoma Lodge number 469. Gibson Preceptory number 39. Fraternal Order of Eagles, Hayden and Gooley, Airy number 4061. Sault Ste. Marie Lodge of Perfection. Zonta Club of Sault Ste. Marie. Royal Purple Lodge, number 155, Elsie Conley. Kiwanis Club of Sault Ste. Marie. Kiwanis Club of Lakeshore. Rotary Club of Sault Ste. Marie. The Lions Club of Sault Ste. Marie, Debbie Kidd and Trevor Fisher. Retired Women Teachers of Ontario, Sault Ste. Marie branch. Retired Teachers of Ontario District number 3, Algoma, ERO. Fogular Furlan Club of Sault Ste. Marie. Elettra Marconi Society. Beta Sigma Phi City Council. The Catholic Women's League of Canada, Sault Ste. Marie Regional Council. Ontario Finished Rest Home. F.J. Davy Home Auxiliary. Algoma Autism Foundation. Sioux Area Hospital Foundation. Marconi Benefit Society. I-500 Snowmobile Race. Sioux Pipe Band. Phoebe Gooderam Sunshine Travel Club. Red Friday Golf Tournament. Comrades Deb Farah and Rick Palaya. And the Sault Ste. Marie Shriners Club, as well as the Centre d'éducation et formation pour adultes, presented by Comrade Jean-Marie Wissel and Tiziana Principe. We'll be laying wreaths on behalf of locals and unions, followed by laying wreaths on behalf of post-secondary institutions, schools, and school boards. Iron Workers Local 786. Registered Nurses Association of Ontario, RNAO. United Steelworkers Local 2724. USWA SOAR Chapter 17. United Steelworkers Local 2251. Unifor Local 1359. Customs and Immigration Union, le Syndicat des douanes et de l'immigration, Local 26. representing our officers Bennett and Felice. Algoma District Elementary Teachers. Ontario English Catholic Teachers Association, Huron Superior Unit. OPSU Local 620. OSSTF District 2 Algoma. International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local Union 1687. Sheet Metal Workers Local 504. Sault Ste. Marie and District Labor Council. Sault Ste. Marie Professional Firefighters Local 529. And Sault Ste. Marie Police Association. Laying wreaths on behalf of post-secondary institutions, schools and school boards. Algoma University, presented by Megan Jones-McLeod. Cora Collegiate and Vocational School. Parkland Public School. École Publique Éco des Rapides. Central Algoma Elementary School and École Notre-Dame du Sault. Any others who wish to place a wreath, please come forward. At this time, we would like to thank and recognize the generous donations from the following businesses, organizations, and individuals. Kevin Lamour of our financial plans, Saldan Construction Group, Algoma Steel, GFL, Lock City Monuments Limited, Public Service Alliance of Canada, Local 00046, Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25 Ladies Auxiliary, the Esquire Club, the Soup Kitchen, PUC Services Incorporated for putting up our banners, the Retired Women's Teachers of Ontario Sault Ste. Marie Branch, the Sioux Greyhounds Hockey Club, Princess Auto, Angie Zubek, Gino's Fired Up Kitchen, Gateway Casino Sault Ste. Marie, Compass Imaging Group and Sign Solutions, Rob Trubinsky, Realtor, Daniel Irwin, Elizabeth McKenzie, Jean Eddy, and AJ Bus Lines. AJ Bus Lines graciously put on a bus for the veterans this morning to the Gardens and back to the Legion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy now a musical presentation, firstly by the pipes and drums of the 49th Sault Ste. Marie Field Artillery Regiment, and then by the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 25 Drum and Trumpet Band. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Our thanks to all the musicians who have provided us with joy on this day. We will now have the presentation of this year's Ed Dinsdale Award by Comrade Pierre Breckenridge.
Ladies and gentlemen, every year we present this Ed Dinsdale Award to a worthy recipient who has shown dedication and commitment to the Poppy campaign over a great number of years. Ed Dinsdale was a long-serving Poppy chair, veteran, and comrade of Branch 25, clearly a dedicated individual. The award was named after him for good reason, and this year's recipient is no exception. Sergeant at Arms, can you escort Mike McWaters to this podium? Mike has been Poppy campaigning for years, regardless of the weather or his condition. He's a veteran and a strong advocate for veterans services and a voice in the Legion second to none. We want to congratulate and thank Mike for his years of dedicated service to the Canadian Armed Forces, to the Legion, and to the Poppy campaign. He's collected tens of thousands of dollars on behalf of veterans and veterans' family members. Thank you, Mike.
Let us join our hearts and minds together now in prayer as we conclude our service. Spirit of the divine, move again over the waters of your creation, drawing life from the chaos of our life, bringing reconciliation to the nations, removing bitterness, greed, and hatred that divide our hearts and minds. Inspire the minds of all leaders this day with a care for the needs of their people. Let truth be the standard as we seek to bring about a fair sharing of the goods of this earth. Help us to know your will and live it. Help us to remember today and all through the year to be at peace with ourselves and accept others as you have created them. Go now in peace. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have in attendance with us today a great many veterans from the three services, both regular, force, and primary reserve. I ask all who have worn the uniform or are wearing the uniform and are ready to serve our country to please stand at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your veterans. Thank you, one and all. Color Party Commander, recover the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are able, please stand for the Royal Anthem, God Save the King, played by the Royal Canadian Legion Drum and Trumpet Band. And would you please remain standing following the anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, the Memorial Tower is open today for visitors. I invite you to please take the opportunity to visit this remarkable memorial. And I want to close our service of remembrance today by speaking to veterans and current serving personnel and their families. This time of year can be very difficult for you by the increased attention and interest generated by the national focus during our Remembrance Week. There are people who can help you through whatever you are facing. You are not alone. And we want you to know that the Legion and our service office is here to help. You can reach out in person, email, or on the phone. If you or someone you love is struggling, put them in touch with us. We have access to resources and services to support you. If you are in crisis at this time and think you may harm yourself or others, please call 911 immediately. If you are in crisis and need help, you can contact Veterans Affairs Assistance Line 24/7 at 1-800-268-7708. It is printed in your program, it is on the screen now, it is confidential, and it is free to you as a veteran or a serving member or your family. We are in this together. We are a team. Let us help. All units, prepare to move out. Color Party Commander, prepare to march off the colors.